friends, and welcome to my kitchen for my Q&A video. I was tagged to do this by Frank Stromberg, part of the Swedish Three. I don't know if this is a tag thing or not. I don't think I'm going to tag anybody, but if anybody else wants to do a Q&A video, go right ahead. So, got some coffee on the go for story time or chat time with Uncle Red. Delicious. Van Oot Colombian roast. Good cup of coffee. All right, so since I'm pretentious, I have two iPhones. This is my backup iPhone. And yeah, so I got some stuff on my notepad and we'll get into it. So Stanley Tam, the student shaver, he asks, what is your favorite lavender scent? So I don't really have many lavender soaps. I only have one that's pure lavender, and that is L&L / Chantilly Luxe Champ de Lavande. That is a great lavender scent. And but I would probably have to give the nod to my first Canadian barbershop. That one's got a real solid lavender pop in it. And I really like the lavender. Let's see. Gordon Christie asks, most influential guitarists, singers, and musicians. So, really tough one. Really tough one. I know you probably couldn't tell from the song I put up the other day, but probably my most favorite band, or one of my most favorite bands, is Metallica. I'm big into the thrash metal, but I'm also big into the hard rock, so I love a lot of classic rock. You know, a lot of good hard rock bands. Actually, the Guess Who is also one of my favorite bands. Burton Cummings is probably one of my favorite singers of all time. That man has a beautiful voice. As far as influential musicians, Neil Peart would be my favorite drummer. The Professor, he was just an incredible musician and lyricist. And as far as guitarists, Jesus, I don't know. The list is so long. So many great guitarists out there. There really is. That's a really hard one to pin down, to be honest with you. Probably any guitarist out of any of my favorite bands, insert their name here. I draw my inspiration from a lot. I listen to a lot of music, you know, everything from the Beatles to, you know, to blues, to country, to thrash metal, right? So I'm gonna go with that. Hopefully that answers your question, Gordon. Carrying on, Shaven Butcher. Shaven Butcher had a bunch of questions. He's a very inquisitive fella. Why are straights cooler than DEs? Well, I mean, because they're straight razors, right? You know, the whole cutthroat thing, the sharp piece of steel, they just look badass, and you feel like a badass when you have one of those against your throat, and you manage not to kill yourself. So, I think that's why they're cooler in that regard. But before all you DE shavers out there start pounding furiously on your keyboards, furious at the intergoogles, I think DEs are cool too. I think wet shaving in general is pretty cool. So we'll go with that. He also wonders, why is Canada the best hockey nation? Well, the thing about Canada and being a hockey nation is, I think the rink is really like the social fabric of the community, and pretty much in every community. So where I live in Cornwall, Prince Edward Island, which is right in the center of the province. Keep in mind, there's only 157,000 people that live on this island, and majority of them live in the Charlottetown, Stratford, Summerside area. So Summerside's about 45 minutes away from Charlottetown, but the majority of people kind of live like in the centralized areas. So about 2 minutes away from me, there's a big ass rink. When you drive into Charlottetown, it's a 5-minute drive. If you go down North River Road, there's a rink down there. There's another rink over in Sherwood, which is like a 5-minute drive from there. Just down the road from Sherwood, there's the main rink where the Islanders play, which is our Quebec Major Junior team, which is a feeder league for the NHL. And then you go over to Stratford, which is another couple-minute drive. There's another rink over there. So really, every community pretty much in Canada has a rink, and the community kind of centralizes around that rink. And you know, there's other social events there, and then obviously the hockey, the early morning practices, the games. And then if there's no rink in a community, then they're building outdoor rinks, and then all the kids will come gather there. And like when I grew up out in West Cove Head, which is kind of rural PEI, there was no hockey rink, but the fire department flooded an outdoor rink, and the local electrician had lights. So really, just hockey is just a way of life here for everybody, and that's probably why we are probably considered the best hockey nation, because we're surrounded by it. We're encapsulated by it, and it's just part of our community, and pretty much every community. And so I think that's it for him, unless I missed any others. So hopefully that answers your question. Go Team Canada, go. Mac Shaves wants to know, Poutine, ? If so, any special type? So yeah, I could probably talk for about an hour about poutine. So, get one thing straight. Taking some fries and throwing some shredded cheese and then just some plain old gravy on top is not poutine. It doesn't matter what the fries are. The fry aspect doesn't matter. You can put crinkle cut. You can put, wedges on there. You can put shoestring. I don't care what kind of fries you use. But poutine has to have cheese curd. Whether you get them from Canada or you get them from Wisconsin, wherever you get them from, it has to have cheese curd, and it has to have poutine sauce. It's not just any old gravy. It is actually a sauce. Traditionally a beef sauce. It's a little runnier than a gravy. It's got more spices and stuff in it than a gravy would typically have, because a typical gravy is just animal fat, a roux, and some salt and pepper and some onion maybe. That's it. A poutine sauce has a few more flavors going on. I'll tell you, a good place to get poutine sauce actually is Walmart. At least here in Canada, you can get the Great Value poutine sauce, and it's really, really good. I imagine they have it down in the States as well. So if you're wanting to try poutine, get that. So and make sure you get the cheese curds. It has to have the curds. And so any special poutine? Yes, my favorite is ground beef poutine. So I used to make it here before the heart attack. In hindsight, that was probably one of the contributing factors to the heart attack, because this is probably easily 2 pounds of food each between my oldest son and I. It'd be a big plate of fries. I would cook a pound of ground beef with sauteed onions in it. And then, so you get your fries, you put the ground beef all over the top, then your curd, and then you cover it in the sauce, and then you let it sit for like 5 minutes. You gotta let it sit. Don't just get in there and start noshing poutine with the cold cheese curd. No. Let it sit for a bit. Let the sauce warm up the curd, and it'll start to melt, but it won't melt completely. And then you get the long, stringy pieces of cheese, and oh my Jesus, that sounds good. And I'd kill for a big plate of hamburger poutine right about now. So hopefully that answers your question. But remember, cheese curd. If you make it with shredded cheese, do not call it poutine. I will reach through the internet and give you the hairy side of the hand. Samuel wants to know, what was the biggest thing I had to learn wet shaving? Easily, I would say that would be straight razors, for sure. I took to the DEs pretty quick. Lathering, it didn't take a whole lot to get into that. So straight razors was probably definitely the big one. And then consequently, after the eyes went kind of pear-shaped, not relearning how to use the straight, but because I knew how to use one, but kind of learning how to use one without injuring myself while not being able to see what I was doing. because that was a learning curve too. I mean, yeah, you can have all the muscle memory in the world, but still, you know, you kind of have to you had to refine your touch even more. So I would say those were the two hardest things in wet shaving. Dana Emons wants to know, did I work with Chef Michael Smith when I was cooking? Kind of. I worked at a catering event for the Delta. When I worked at the Delta as a banquet cook, we did like huge functions, and we did a function that Michael Smith was at, and he was cooking, and we were kind of the support staff. I didn't really get to directly cook elbow to elbow with him, but I was kind of on the same team, and that was pretty cool. Chef Michael Smith is an awesome guy, and he's ginormous. He's like 6'20" or something foolish like that. Giant man. Huge teddy bear though. Super nice guy. Mandy Lindholm. 5 soaps. And do I prefer DE or straight? So I didn't even really think about this, so I'm just gonna, I want it to be organic. So 5 soaps. I would have to say first Canadian motherfucker. Like seriously, yeah, definitely. That's probably my favorite right now. You know, I really have a soft spot for that because Radiant let me pick the scent, and everybody seems to like the scent. So that was probably one of my proudest moments in the wet shaving was, you know, Randy trusting me enough to go out on a limb and try that and have it work out. Followed by Kink. That was my number one. So motherfucker, Kink. Ah, shit. These are going to be mostly all first Canadian. Highland Springs Havana Vieja. That one is just, oh, it's just fantastic. Such a fantastic scent. Wickham Club Cola being at number 4. Really like that one. Just a killer scent. And I'm just trying to think of a 5th one that really rustles my jimmies. One that I just can't get enough of. God, there's so many. It's just so hard to choose. It's a really hard question, Maddie. What the hell is wrong with you? God. Geez, number 5. I don't know. I just got soaps just ramming through my head here. I would have to say I'd round it out with Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements CAD, which I actually don't have at the moment. I had a tin, and it kind of went bad on me. The scent changed, and it smelled kind of like a weaker version of Fine American Blend, which is fine. Pardon the pun. I like American Blend, but CAD I find has a sweeter note to it, and it lost that, and I kind of got frustrated with that because the balm still smelled like CAD, so the soap didn't match the balm anymore, and that kind of bummed me out. So I need to get a new set of that, probably maybe in the new year, because that's like one of my favorite all-time scents. And prefer DE or straight? I would prefer straight razors, but I get a better shave with a DE, if that makes any sense. And I don't think it's I like to think it's not a technique thing. Just my grain grows really funny, especially on my neck. Like when I had vision and I could really see what I was doing, I could get BBS on my cheeks all day long and my jawline, not a problem. But my neck, could never get BBS on my neck. I would always be kind of rough, and so yeah. That's a tough one too, Maddie. Jesus. You're asking the hard questions here. I would prefer a straight, but I get a better shave with a DE. And you have to admit the Curve is a pretty sexy razor. So we'll go with that. So Belu, Benjamin Louie, also asking a hard question. If I was offered $1 million to leave Prince Edward Island forever, would I leave? If so, where would I go? That's a pretty tough one. I do like it here. It's very small, community minded. You know, everybody here is like super cool. It's a pretty chill, really laid back place to live. And even the winters are actually getting a little bit better now, so that's kind of nice. So, but shit, there's also a bunch of music gear I would like to have too. And $1 million could buy a hell of a lot of music gear. So I'm going to answer this two ways. I don't think I would leave for $1 million, but if I was able to leave, I would like to stay in Canada, so I would probably, well, I couldn't live in the States anyway with all my health conditions. I'd never pass the questionnaire to get accepted to the States anyway. Probably Victoria, BC, out on the left coast there, out in the Pacific, 'cause it's nice and warm usually most of the time, and they don't get snow and all that shit. So yeah, so no, I probably wouldn't leave, but if I did for $1 million, it'd be Victoria. There you go. Jim will shave. How did I shave on the road when I was a trucker? Poorly. Very, very poorly. I had either a cartridge razor and, the canned foam, and I would probably only shave once a week because my skin didn't tolerate cartridge razor shaving very well, as, most of us don't tolerate it very well. And it's even worse when you only shave once a week, too. Or I had an electric doohickey. It was one of those ones, I think it was the Philips, I forget now. It was an older one that you got these cartridges of shaving gel that went in the back of the razor, and there was a button you pushed, and it would actually like spread a bit of shaving gel on your face that worked with the electric razor, and that one actually wasn't too bad. I didn't actually mind that. That was a pretty decent electric razor for all. And then they discontinued it and stopped making the cartridges and stuff. And then I went into the wet shaving, and here we are with a YouTube channel. So we're getting down to the end here. Aaron Hall, main guitar gear and drum kit. So my main guitar gear is my Epiphone Les Paul. That was one of my dream guitars. I would love a real Gibson Les Paul, but let's be honest, they're like super expensive. And in some regards, they're not much better than the Epiphone, which is like the cheaper version, but it's fully licensed. It's the same guitar, just a different name for the most part. So that is, that's my main axe, the one you've seen on the video. That's in a triple A flame maple top, or maple veneer, and the trans green finish, dream color. I remember seeing that a couple years ago on a different model, and I was like, holy smokes, I need that. And then just everything came together. Sold a bunch of firearms after the peepers went wonky, and I was able to buy it. Second guitar in my arsenal is the Harley Benton Black Paisley Telecaster. Also a great guitar. Got that from Thomann in Germany, and it was like $300 shipped to my door from Germany. And it's a great guitar. I can't find anything wrong with it for $300. Plays just like a Fender Squire or one of the lower Fender models for like $500, $600, $700. So those are my two main axes. I do have another Les Paul copy down in the basement. I probably should get another stand for that one of these days and bring it up to the living room. So I do like playing that one too, and I have that one in a wonky tuning. I have that in, what's that in? Open C tuning, nice low tuning. So those are my main axes. An amp, right now I'm running a Fender Mustang 1. It's an older amp. I've had it for like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years. It's a modeling amp, solid state, so no tubes in it. And you can model it to sound like different amps that are already preset. So I have it set on the Fender 67 Twin Reverb. Or is it 65 Twin Reverb? One of the two. For a clean tone, I'm running a Zoom G2 multi-effects pedal, which is also very old. Into that, one of the main patches I run, the patch on the song I just put up there the other day, was a patch that I created based on some online research to make it sound like a Vox AC15 or an AC30. So that kind of chimey, jingly sound. Put a bunch of extra reverb onto that in GarageBand and when I was mixing and mastering it. A little extra bass, cut the treble back a bit, and a little bit of compression. And yeah, and that's it. That's all I'm running. It sounds not too bad, but what you guys heard on that song compared to what the amp itself and everything sounds like are two very, very different things. Like I said, there's a lot of adding some extra stuff in the mixing and mastering. My drum kit is a Mapex Maple Meridian kit with all Sabian AA or AAX cymbals. I have a set of 14-inch hats, a 16-inch crash, a 10-inch splash, or an 8-inch, whatever, an 18-inch crash, and a 24-inch ride, I do believe. And a 6-piece kit, so I get the 2 floor toms and a double bass pedal. I'm not playing it right now. We live in a townhouse now, so the drum kit is not set up. Plus, I can't see well enough to set it up. So, and yeah, if we want to talk about dream gear, for me, I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm playing more hard rock, more country lately, more blues. I'm not playing as much of the metal. So if I could have a dream rig right now, if I had the money to go out and buy it tomorrow, I could tell you exactly what I would buy. It would be a Vox AC15, because that is my sound. That it has that chime and that shimmer that I look for in a clean guitar sound. And that chime and that shimmer also carry through to the overdrive. So it's very, very warm sounding overdrive. So yeah, Vox AC15, because I'm kind of cheap and the AC30 is actually pretty pricey. AC15's pricey, it's $1,000 or $1,082 with tax. But that's 15 watts, more than loud enough for any venue I would ever play. If I could play live music here, like any of the bars, because you can just mic it, put it through the PA anyway, but it's loud enough to keep up with the drummer, like for a rehearsal. So it would be that, with a Wampler Paisley Deluxe overdrive pedal. It's 2 pedals in one, so 2 different stages of overdrive. You get a lighter overdrive, a heavier, which is, I think you can get pretty close to metal distortion out of it if you stomp the 2 pedals on together. A digital delay, digital delay pedal, and then probably a compressor, more for the country music. And yeah, then you're good to go, because the Vox comes with built-in reverb, which is foot switchable. So you just get a foot switch and you can turn that on or off, and it's got the tremolo too. So that'd be my dream setup right there. AC15, the Deluxe Paisley drive, digital delay, compressor. Plug in either the Les Paul or the Telecaster, and that would cover any of the music that I'm writing or playing right now. Believe me, I have all that costed out, how much it would cost, including a pedal board. It's actually not that much, $2,500. That's not too bad. I just need $2,500. All right, anyway, wrapping it up. I talk about music all day. Music is, wet shaving and music are my jams, right? So anyway, the Sash Shaver, Lyle, my brother from another mother out there in Saskatchewan, wants to know, why are Sheffield blades so great? Well, I'm trying to think of that myself. I think a big part of why Sheffield blades are great, and not just the Wade and Butchers, but any blade made from that era in Sheffield, England, I think it really comes down to the metallurgy in them. It's gotta be the steel. Whatever process they used to make the steel back then, and whatever minerals and stuff is in that metal, it's just, and then how they forged it, I think is just, that's where the magic is. And then that was just passed on from manufacturer to manufacturer. And, you know, I'd say if somebody could, you know, recreate that metallurgy and get that figured out and start making blades again in that same style with that same kind of metal, they'd make $1 gajillion. I'm sure they would, because there's, anybody that's picked up a Sheffield blade knows there's just something magical, the way it shaves, the way it feels, the heft of them, I don't know, there's just something about it. They just have some good juju. And maybe it's the way they were made too. I don't know how the blades are made back then. I don't know if they probably weren't stamped out like they are now. like, you know, like a Dovo or a new manufactured Boker. I like to envision, you know, a bunch of forges running in a huge warehouse with a bunch of workers heating up their blades in the forge or their pieces of metal, and then pounding them all out by hand. I can just envision this huge warehouse just full of blacksmiths, all just pounding out blades and doing that all day long. That's what I like to think. I could be dead wrong. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. I think it's all in the metal. It's all in the steel. And if somebody could figure out how to recreate that, they would. Well, they would probably please a lot of wet shavers, and they'd make a shit ton of money. So anyway, that was it for the question and answer. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. I do appreciate it. Also, I'd like to say thank you very much for all the love and support on my music video. That was a tough one to put up, actually. I'm glad it worked out. I know when I did my guitar video, or both my guitar videos, when I got the guitars, and I go back and look at my playing on that, I'm just like, oh my god, it's just horrible. It sounded so bad. So I was really glad to put a song up that, you know, I was able to work on and take my time and, you know, record it and get it done right and have it sound good and then have everybody like it. So that makes me feel good, because as a musician, I'm biased, right? Everything I write, if I think it sounds good, well, I think it sounds good. You know, I'll run it by my wife and she's like, oh yeah, that sounds great, yeah. But I mean, I've been a musician since we met back in high school, so, you know, she's always been like, oh yeah, no, that sounds great, yeah, whatever. And so anyway, so it's very validating to put a piece of music up that I think is good, and then everybody else say, oh yeah, that's great. Unless you're all blowing smoke up my ass, but I don't think you guys are. So I think you genuinely liked it, and I really do appreciate it. Like I said, music is my life. It always has been, and that's what's keeping me sane. That and you guys in the wet shaving community. So anyway, that's it for this video. Once again, thank you so much for participating. Thank you to the new subscribers. Picked up a couple this week. Appreciate the support. And that's it. So until Wednesday, story time once again. That's it for me. So remember, be safe, be kind to one another. Most importantly, have a great day, an even better shave. We're going to catch you in the next one. Peace, and I love yous.